Here is Alex from Yogatraveljobs.com, and I'm happy to announce that from today on we are sharing every Thursday a real honest talk with an inspiring yogi or teacher all around the world. And Yogatraveljobs.com is the place where you can find a yoga job and teach yoga wherever your heart calls you and connect with yogis all around the world. And this podcast is made for you to learn something new, feel inspired, but also really connect with yoga communities further than just your hometown. We want to share and grow with each other instead of just competing on a superficial level, social media or filling up retreats or doing kind of challenges where we just focus on ourselves. So feel free to suggest inspiring yoga you would like to hear on our Real Honest Talk. And now let's dive in our first episode for Yogatraveljobs.com. In today's first podcast episode ever, I'm chatting with Deddou from Pop-Up Yoga Switzerland. Deddou created a successful yoga brand, hosting amazing pop-up workshops, classes, immersions, retreats, and now even a yoga teacher training on the most amazing places like rooftops, in cartoon museums, and just venues you never thought you'll experience yoga. And that's not all, because Deddou is for me one of the most positive and creative person I know. Whenever I see her, I feel like the sun is shining out from her heart into the world. So I'm really happy to have you here with me, Deddou. Welcome. How this all started out, Deddou? How did you come up with creating your own yoga brand, and why pop-up yoga?
Well, I did my yoga teacher training in New York, and after finishing it and coming back to Switzerland, I wanted to start teaching. And I went to different yoga studios, I looked around, and I didn't really find a suitable option for me. Also, I firmly believe that yoga is a lifestyle, and yoga is meant to be practiced not only in the yoga studio, but also in your daily life. So that's how I sort of came up with the idea of pop-up yoga and practicing yoga not only in yoga studios, but also in other places all over the city. And so I don't know, I wasn't even so sure about what I was doing. I just knew that I wanted to teach, and I knew that I wanted to somehow bring yoga, make it accessible to young city people. And then I found this really, actually very dodgy art space in a very dodgy area in Zurich. And Per la Moda, which is a young art gallery, well, it was at the time, it's no longer there. And we did our first few pop-up yoga classes there, and it was a very unique atmosphere because it was this old building, and and we were doing yoga in the middle of very weird art. And there were weird people walking past, and I remember once there was this homeless person who actually stopped and looked into the window and looked what we were doing, and he started practicing yoga with us and meditating with us, which was just really special to see how powerful yoga can be once it gets out into real life and real people start to connect with it. And and that's how it kind of started. And from there, I just wanted to practice yoga in a lot of interesting spaces in a lot of different places. And it all started there at this art gallery.
Wow. And on your way, when you were starting to create this brand and just doing something, it was the first time you were creating your own business, no?
No, it actually wasn't. I always felt the need to do something out in the world that was my own. So I always had the idea that I wanted to be self-employed and just really create something that comes from my inside and kind of bring it out to the real world. So I started that actually a long time ago, when I actually was teaching dance classes. And there also I went to New York, and I did a training there, like a hip hop and jazz dance training. And then I came back and I taught not yoga, dance for 2 years. And later on, I actually had a little company or project going on where I was selling South African designer dresses in Switzerland. So yes, not my first time that I create a brand or that I create something.
Yeah. And how did you make like this transition from teaching hip hop dance classes to teaching yoga? Like, what happened inside of you where you felt like, okay, I need to teach yoga, or yoga is my path?
I guess what connects the two is that I always enjoyed teaching, and that wasn't so much. I wasn't so conscious about it. It's just something that kind of is in my nature, and that when I look back now in my life, I see that in every job I've ever done, I ended up being a teacher, or I ended up training people and teaching people. And I guess that's how it's very natural for me to move into, well, first it was my hobby to do yoga, and then start teaching it, and now sharing my knowledge and my teachings with others. That's always something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And when you think back on when you started like out creating the pop-up yoga brand, what were like your biggest ups and downs? Like, how did you move through obstacles, or did you have any obstacles, or like just feelings like, oh my God, how should I make this all work or happen?
Well, I guess yes, there are a lot of these moments, especially if you teach pop-up yoga. You're always you always have to rely on other people. It's not just me. It's kind of me starting things, but then I'm really dependent on people supporting me and people supporting pop-up yoga, because we do pop yoga in so many different places. So I always need people who actually provide me with these places, and who offer me their space, and who believe yoga is, worthwhile, and who open their doors, and who kind of believe in me. So it's never just something I can do by myself. It deeply depends on the people who help and support me. And then obviously, as soon as you have to rely on people, it's just they're like, it's really you really depend on them. So if somebody tells you, yes, you can use this venue for the yoga class tonight, and then an hour before tells me, you know what, we actually have an exhibition, and I just talked to the people there, and it's not going to be possible, then yes, then it becomes like a big obstacle, because already people have signed up for this class and are on their way to come to yoga, and now the location is no longer available. That being said, like, it has happened, but most of the time people are reliable, and people, they try their best to make sure, if they say yes, that they actually keep their word.
Yeah.
But then also, like, it's the organization behind it. So if you're a yoga teacher teaching in a studio, and you're just teaching your regular classes, that's just beautiful. That's very nice. What I do, however, is, yes, I'm a yoga teacher, but the organization behind pop-up yoga events is immense. because usually I have to, first of all, I have to find exciting locations. Then we have meetings with the people at the location there. Then we have to come to a sort of agreement. Then we need to figure out a time, and then we need to promote the event. We need to promote the location. There are so many things happening behind the scene to make yoga possible that I love the concept of it's the most beautiful thing to practice on rooftops and to practice in exciting spaces, but it's a lot of work as well.
Yeah. And how do you keep yourself grounded and calm while organizing all of this? Like, are there any moments sometimes where you feel maybe like overwhelmed or like losing your mind in all this organization?
I won't lie to you. Like, yes, it is. Yes, it is difficult at times, and yes, it can be very overwhelming because also I tend to be involved in a lot of different projects, which on one hand side I deeply enjoy, but then on the other hand side, yes, it can be overwhelming at times and not very grounding. But then again, that's my nature. Like I love to work like this. And it's very important to actually then have practices or to do maybe sometimes even like rituals that ground you again. So for me, it's very important to have time outs just for myself, where I just block a few hours during the day or in the evening, or maybe it's in the afternoon before I actually teach. And I take some time off. I might take a hot bath and I shut the lights and I only use candlelight, or I just, I don't know, I go for a walk. I live very close to the forest. So sometimes I just, I say, okay, it will be possible to go out for 30 minutes to an hour and just walk in the forest and then come back and, I'll be more productive if I take this time out. But this has also been it's been a journey, because you need to understand that you need time to ground yourself, and it's very easy to get lost and overwhelmed with all that work and thinking that I should stay, I should organize this and I should just quickly reply to this email, it's and you can always work, you can always organize stuff, there's always work to do. But especially the practice of yoga teaches us, or hopefully helps us, to stay more grounded and to also have different tools available to, maybe sometimes, I meditate every morning. That helps me to stay grounded. I try to eat very nutritious and good food. That's also a very important thing. So there's different different things, how to stay more aware of your own condition and to, not only teach yoga to other people, but also remind yourself of the practices of yoga every day.
So true, because I also catch myself sometimes being on the laptop and organizing everything and writing and, sometimes I'm getting so stuck in my head, and then the best thing I can do is just close the laptop, go out, maybe go to yoga, or just breathe and connect to myself, or even just sleeping helps, to not just think, okay, I need to do the next thing and the next, and it can sometimes wait, and it will be much more, beautiful, and the quality of the work will be so different if I take time for myself and then do it with a great intention behind it.
And if you are working in a productive way, you get things like, when I sit in front of my computer, actually I'm super productive because I'm 100% focused on it. But then again, I work on my computer maybe for 3 hours or 4. But then I take a break and then I go out, or maybe I just stretch a little bit. I do a few yoga poses, or maybe I read something, or I listen to a podcast, or I read a blog, or I don't know, just take my mind off it. And what really helps is fresh air and movement. and
Yeah.
just being away from any kind of screen.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that's so true. Um, and when it comes like you're like really organizing a lot of different things. Like I know that every time I get a newsletter from you, I'm like, wow, how did you come up with this idea? And I'm like, wow, this workshop, wow, this teacher she's inviting. And I remember like I think last summer it was, you had like cooperations with Alnatura, which is like a organic supermarket in Switzerland. And I just wanted to ask you, like, how do you come up with creating all these workshops? Like, how do you come up with all these ideas and like on a regular basis? And what are your tips for teachers? Like, how can they like get creative and create unique events for their students?
I think, well, I deeply believe that I actually don't come up with it. um, I'm just open. I'm open to whatever comes my way. And I think, sometimes we get very obsessed with a certain idea, or we want to go a certain way, or we want our life to go a certain way. And we just need to learn we're never actually in control of how our life's supposed to go. Like we don't know. We really don't know. So the only thing you can do is to really stay open and just, invite opportunities in, and not just be like, oh no, this is too complicated, or no, like, oh, like, no, just be open to it, and then also listen to yourself. Like, does it feel good? Like, does this idea give me energy, or does it take energy away from me? And then I think it's just, yeah, it's the combination of these two, and kind of being open, and then whatever comes your way, just listening to your gut feeling and thinking about it, and then your gut will tell you like, or it will tell you like, and then once it tells you like, don't do it, because it might not be the right time. You might do it later, but just trust that whatever you feel and whatever comes your way is kind of also meant to come your way. So, for example, with the example that you give with All Natura, like I didn't even have that idea. Like, that wasn't my idea. That was kind of, somebody telling the CEO at All Natura about me, and then them contacting me, and then sitting together and coming up with, I don't know, just brainstorming and coming up with ideas, and in the end creating like we had such great yoga events last summer in the most beautiful spaces and locations in Zurich, and we're actually going to do it again this summer.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I can take part of it since I will be there in July.
Yes. It's going to be from June till end of August.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, I really like that you're actually not stuck in your head and thinking how to come up with something, but that you're like trusting and letting yourself flow with life. When it comes like something like not totally different, but when it comes to like you created a brand which is like you really recognize, oh, that's pop-up yoga, that's the pop-up yoga logo, that's just the pop-up yoga images, that's the pop-up yoga workshop names. You just like, I don't know, you feel the energy through how your branding and marketing speak. Like, I feel your energy when I see your pictures. And do you have any tips how yoga teachers can like stay consistent with their marketing, or like how they can get into the press, and how they can create a beautiful Instagram profile, or just like how do you handle all these marketing things, when you're already coming up with the workshops? Because that's like one thing, coming up with the workshops, but then like promoting it and like really make yourself and your yoga as a brand. Like, how you came up with this?
Well, I guess especially us yoga teachers, we're very inconsistent. Our lives always change, and it's for many of us, it's very difficult to commit to something. That being said, I think what actually helps me with the marketing is to actually stick with something. That's why, like, it's not very special marketing, or it's not, I don't know, the most, I don't know, creative marketing, but I stick with one format. And and then also the brand also reflects a lot of how I feel, and the person I am. That's why it's very colorful, and it's not necessarily like the pictures and images we use. Yes, there are yoga pictures sometimes, but it's also, again, like showing images of real life, because pop-up yoga is all about bringing yoga out into real life. So just staying true to that idea really helps me. And so if somebody wants to, start teaching yoga or start their own yoga brand, for example, I knew that I am not a graphic designer and that I will need the help of someone. So I am very fortunate to have this amazing and creative friend who created my graphic design, and I sat together with her and we developed a structure so that she doesn't need to come up or like do all the flyers for me, but she kind of made a draft for me, and like that I can alter, but that I always use the same format. I always use the same concept, and it's super simple. Like it's not difficult. It's very simple. But I think it's knowing what you're good at. Maybe you are a graphic designer and you're very good. Then create your own brand. I mean, that's amazing. But then try and stick with it, because people, it will take some time. For people to actually recognize your brand, and just if you stick with it for a while, I think that's very important.
Yeah, that sounds great. And when it comes to, like in the beginning you were like teaching all the classes alone, and now I saw like you have so many amazing teachers teaching with you. And how do you choose these teachers, or like what kind of tips you have for new teachers when they are like looking for a yoga job?
Teachers looking for a yoga job. I think it always helps to have a little resume where you put in like your experience, a nice photo of yourself, just giving an overview of what you do. It might also be a good idea to have a short YouTube video of your practice, so people can actually see what your teaching style is all about, what your practice is all about, because nowadays there are so many yoga teachers and we all have our unique style. So if somebody says, I'm a vinyasa yoga teacher, that can be many things. So it's actually nice to get a visual. And then what I think is also important, to be open to do like a test, a trial class, so that people are like, can go to your class and see how you teach. And so it definitely helps to have a few good yoga photos of you, of yourself, and it helps to maybe have a short video of yourself. That just helps people to connect more to the person you are. Maybe what also helps, and that's something I think is also a big one, is to maybe contribute to a yoga blog and write some articles, so that again, like, you can already show that you are committed as a yoga teacher and you want to share your knowledge, and people can read through the blog and kind of get a better understanding of the person you are and what you can teach.
Well, that's beautiful. And I'm coming now back a little bit to the marketing, but more like kind of PR. I remember that I was like on, I don't know, several PR pop-up yoga events from you. And how do you recommend yoga teachers setting up a PR event? Like how do you do that? I mean, I think most of the new teachers, or like teachers in general, don't do this, or they don't know where to start and how to contact these people. Like, what's your experience with that? And do you think that helped you a lot?
It definitely helped me a lot in the past. A lot. I think as a teacher, or starting out as a teacher, you need to be smart. You need to be smart in a way that you are very clear about what you want to do and kind of setting a direction for where you want to go. And if your direction is to go and teach at a yoga studio that you like a lot, then you need to persuade them that you are a good teacher, and you don't need to do anything with PR. You just need to, go to that studio, talk to the people, maybe offering them a trial yoga class with you, and then it's more like networking there at the studio. However, if you want to do your own thing, then you need to also think, okay, how can I set this up, and who will come to my class, and maybe, I don't know, can I set up, something special, something that makes me or my offering stand out. And maybe you have contacts or PR contacts. Maybe you have a few blogger friends, or you know a friend of a friend who is a blogger, and then maybe, you can give her a yoga class, a private yoga class, and she writes something about you. I mean, but this is all you need to be conscious about, how it, or where you want to go or what you want to do. And definitely talk to people, definitely involve people, start networking, because as I said in the beginning, it's not a solo job. I mean, as a teacher, you will be constantly dependent on other people supporting you and helping you, and you share with them what you know, and you teach them, and in your turn they give you something back. So it's always this back and forth. So you definitely have to reach out to different people, and
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful said. Just giving forth and back. I really like that, and I think that's good to keep in mind, in general with your students, and just with teaching yoga, that it's all about giving and then getting maybe something in return, and that people will feel it. If it's I don't know, pure, and you can stand behind it.
And I think if you truly, if you teach what you believe in, and if you are true to yourself and committed to, I don't know, just to teach the best way possible, then things will come back in return.
Yeah.
Who knows what comes back in return, but things will start coming back in return because you are living your truth and you are giving truthfully. And I believe then there starts to be almost like a cycle that you start.
Yeah.
And through that cycle, things will come back to you. Maybe it's just like a feedback from somebody that will again light up your day. Maybe it's, I don't know, it's a new opportunity, or somebody says, oh, I know a friend who, I don't know, does this and this, maybe you two should connect. And then again, it's up to you to be open, and be open to the opportunities that come your way.
Wow, thank you so much. That's I think that's a beautiful sentence to close this interview with you, to just stay open for all the opportunities, so for whatever comes up, and then create the best from it. Thank you so much, Deddou, for being with me here,
Alex.
and sharing all these valuable tips and experiences which you made.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure. And yeah, I hope I see you in summer in one of our outdoor yoga events.
It would be awesome. Thank you so much, Deddou.
Pleasure.
So if you happen to be in Switzerland this summer and would like to experience yoga on the rooftop, including a beautiful sunset, I recommend you to just join one of Deddou's regular classes or the special classes with Al Natura in June and July, where one part of the money goes towards our organization, which is helping women in India. All the info you can find on www.popupyoga.ch, or you can find Deddou on Facebook and Instagram under Pop-Up Yoga Switzerland. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and please let us know your takeaways from today's episode in the comments below. And feel free to reach out to me via email at aleks@yogatraveljobs.com. If you have any feedback or would like to suggest an inspiring yogi for our Real Honest Talk, since this is our first podcast and we just appreciate growing and learning with you together. And the next podcast episode, I'm talking with Heidi Michelle from Dragonfly Yoga, and it's all about living yoga, going through depression, and teaching peace in this crazy time we live in. So don't forget to subscribe on SoundCloud or YouTube, and see you next Thursday. Have a wonderful weekend.